Welcome back, everyone, to this week's episode of Booking the Territory, the unprofessional wrestling podcast, where today we are covering WCW Saturday Night on TBS from September the 7th of 1991. And if you're wondering where August 31st of 1991 is, well, from my understanding, that episode was preempted due to Braves baseball. So here we are for September the 7th. And before we get rolling, and I throw it to Doc and Harper, who's actually late by many, many minutes at this point, special shout out to our largest patron contributors monthly, Disrespectfully Classy, Marky Blassie, Mike Childry, Joe Ice, good old Justin. Thank you for your generous support on Patreon. And a shout out, it's been actually 2 weeks since we recorded a main show, just the way we had to do our last clash. So I got some new patrons or returning patrons: Robert R., Dan B., Sean H., Dustin, Roger, Travis, Danny, and WP. And Michael Angel, will you please leave me alone about your shout out? First off, you ain't even swack, and leave Chris Zonch's wife alone. He's a good kid. Oh, wait, maybe I got that the other way around. Chris Zoncha, leave Angel's wife alone. I don't know.
You know who's really swack? Dion.
Okay. Michael Angel's actually swack. I'm just messing with him, but he's been bugging me about his shout out. So there's that. Doc, let me welcome you into the show. Harper is very, very much very late. How are you?
I'm great. I'm just really great. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figure we probably need to start off here.
Where's he?
Well, we need to discuss the sports entertainment we saw in the NFL this past weekend, the championship round. We need to let people know, because everybody from everywhere is getting hip to the fact that this stuff is a work. And if you go to Twitter anytime during a football game or afterwards, it's a bitter place, man.
Bro, there's like hashtags now on Twitter. NFL is rigged. Yeah. Have you seen that? And one of them is NFL is rigged. What is the other one? NFL is fixed.
Okay, so here's my question. I'm sure a big majority of the people listening to us watch the Philadelphia Eagles, San Francisco 49ers get it on. You were crying foul early that the Booker man was behind the Eagles.
What do you mean crying foul?
You were like, man, they called that on the first drive. They missed that incompletion. They called it a completion. Got him in the end zone.
No. I wasn't blaming the Booker man on that.
Okay.
I was saying I saw it from the start. I was like, he didn't catch that. Like,
okay.
And I was like, why is I blamed actually Shanahan for not throwing the flag.
Okay. So
I wasn't blaming Booker man there, but go ahead.
So you get to your third quarterback gets hurt. And now you bring in Josh Johnson, which everybody at that time around the world flooded Wikipedia to find his Wikipedia page. Not remembering that he was in the league. At that point, the script goes out the window, right?
Yeah, and they had just signed him the week that Garoppolo got hurt because they needed a quarterback. So, like, he hadn't even been on the roster the entire year.
But at that point, the league stops trying to book, right? They're just like, look, if we can keep it close, that's great, but this is a lost cause.
Yeah, it's over at that point.
Because then he gets hurt, and they bring the third quarterback in, who's got a torn ligament in his throwing elbow now.
Right. Yeah, that made no sense. Like, that's when
I would have rather them line up in the quarterback sneak with two linemen as fullbacks and just try to push their way up to field.
No, that wouldn't have worked against Philly's defense. But because there's no threat of a pass at all. But what they should have did was just, I don't know how much of the playbook. I'm assuming McCaffrey knows the playbook, and I'm sure knows the whole playbook at this point. I'm sure you got plenty to run. But there's no way in hell I'm putting that dude out there who can't throw a pass. I'm just going to put McCaffrey out there with Debo and the fullback and we gonna run some triple option, bro. I mean, like, I don't know what else you do at that point. You got to like revert back to the only thing that could possibly work. But I'm sure Shanahan had his reason for not doing it. He's a really good coach. I don't want to criticize him, but at the end of the day, it was a lost cause. We're talking about what they should have done, but it wouldn't have mattered. They wouldn't have won. And honestly, bro, they wouldn't have won if Brock Purdy was healthy. Like, the Eagles were going to win that game. Okay, let's just be real.
But at that point, when Brock Purdy comes out, the league does not. It's not worth it to them to save the 49ers with the booking, because you got a Super Bowl to book for too.
Oh yeah, bro. The refs got the call, like the little buzzer went off on them in the little earpiece.
Abort the script.
Script. Like New York was in their ear. Abort. Like, we know we said to keep this close, but at this point it doesn't matter if it's a 1-score game at halftime. All right, if it's 21-7 at halftime, so be it. But it's over. Move along. These are not the droids you're looking for.
Now, I'd have to say that the booking picked up a bit for the night game.
I shot at the territory. Jesus.
Now, there's a whole bunch of people that are upset and swolled up about missed calls and all kinds of calls. And, man, it is really different when it ain't your team in it.
Oh, it's funny. It's hilarious. I hear it, too. People some of the same people who told me, you need to stop fussing about that no call in NFC Championship game. They're the same ones crying to me. I don't even talk about it. If you ask me about it, I go, that gave me proof that it was booked. Bro, I'm not even bitter. That is all the proof I need to know the NFL is a complete and utter work. And I watch it, yes. People go, why you still watch it? Well, I still watch pro wrestling. I know that's a work, so why would I stop watching football?
That's fair. Okay, so we've got
it's a work, bro.
And Burrow.
Yeah.
I guess the question everybody wants to know.
Travis Kelce's promo at the end of the game.
Well, yeah. So, do you believe that was unnecessary roughness on the second to last play of the game on Mahomes?
By the letter of the law, it is, because he did push him once. I think Mahomes had at least 1 foot or 2 feet on the white stripe. So that is not. Everybody's talking about that call. There's other shit that happened in that game.
The call that fucked them was 3 plays before that, where they got off the field and then all of a sudden had to stay out on the field.
Bruh, that was the play that I was like, what the shit?
And so here's the thing that people don't understand.
It was like somebody radioed in and was like, no. That play never happened. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to say that y'all blew it dead. Remember, he was over there. He was late getting the call to blow it dead. So he did blow it dead, but technically the play got off. But you're going to say that play never happened. These are not the droids you're looking for. Bro, it was some Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Wars, Jedi shit.
So...
Bro, that shit, you can't tell me that was not foul.
And here's where they get most people. And this is where you really need to learn to look at this with the eye that we look at it with. People will look at the end and go, oh, well, and this wasn't the case for this game, I know, but like, oh, well, the penalties were relatively, the same number. That don't mean a damn thing. One bad penalty and an ill-timed penalty can be a bag breaker when you get off the field and then you're not off the field.
Or one non-penalty at a moment when it should be.
Yeah,
if that play is the play that decides
things. They lie
things.
with numbers is they keep it relatively close. But I mean, it's like, you look at a NBA game and the number of fouls, and it's usually pretty close to one another, but the way they're distributing those numbers is how they're telling the story. Here's what you need to know about the NFL, and this is why it's this is the most dirty, illogical bullshit thing of all times. These big games have a third guy in the booth to explain the refs' decision making. What the fuck?
Now, technically,
you got to have a rules expert to explain the rules for a relatively simple game, because they're trying to cover up the work.
Now, technically, he's not an employee of the NFL. He works for the network, if you want to be technical.
But
again,
he's still protecting
wink,
the business.
Wink, wink. Wink, wink.
He ain't there to break kayfabe on it. I mean, every once in a while they let him so that it's like, okay, well, see, they're impartial. But why are they there?
Yeah, you ain't got to. Yeah, I'm with you, man.
Why do we need this service?
To explain things.
Hell, the big pass that George Kittle caught across the middle on us, he was covered up by a receiver. They never called that. Somebody explain that shit to me.
The most of our listeners have no clue what you mean by covered up.
Well, that made him an illegal receiver downfield.
Yeah.
Most of our listeners do. Don't insult our listeners like that. I'm sorry for all y'all listening out there. Mike's been a
apologizing again. You're so funny sometimes.
So the Eagles are in the Super Bowl.
You're ready for the Earth to come to an end again.
I've got to call in to the aliens in case we need a run in. I felt bad for the dude from Cincy that got called for the penalty, 58, Osai or whatever. He was visibly upset on the sideline. He's 22. He made a mistake, a very costly mistake. It was a penalty, and it probably at that point cost him a chance for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, by the letter of the law, that was a penalty. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, it was a penalty.
And Mahomes flopped on his back like a dead fish, which was perfect to cement the fact he was working. But when you line it up, that's a foul.
Everybody's working. Come on, man.
Right. And here's the thing: a foul is a foul at all points of the game.
Okay, so was the fix in? Were they trying to get Mahomes in the Super Bowl? Is that what I'm hearing?
I would have said no until that third down. We're just gonna run that again. That was some shady shit late in the game.
There was a Buffalo Bills Houston. You can be like, no, there wasn't. In I think 2017 playoffs wild card, Buffalo played at Houston in the playoffs, and they lost that game. The opening kickoff in the second half, the Bills kicked it to the Texans, and the Texans return man, I think, caught it and touched it and left the ball in the end zone or something. Something weird happened, and Buffalo grabbed it. And Buffalo had like a 16-point lead or something. And immediately one of the refs signals touchdown. And out of the blue, and I'll never forget this, and most people don't remember it, two referees with headsets on that weren't reffing the game and black hats ran out onto the field, corrected the referees and told them the rule, and ran off the field. And the NFL has scrubbed that from that game if you find it online. And I wish I could find the original footage. And people could be like, Mike, you're crazy. No, I'm not. Because a buddy of mine on Twitter tweeted it out. He was like, we're just going to act like two dudes with black hats and black gloves and a headset didn't just run out there and tell them bullshit. This is not what it's going to be. And it's a touchback. And it really wasn't supposed to be that. And I'm telling you, man, it was weird. What's weirder is it's not on the game footage online anymore on YouTube or anything on the NFL channel. And I wish I could find the original footage of that game.
Okay.
And I can't. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen.
Would it? I believe you.
No.
Yeah.
I'm saying most people, when I tell them about that, they don't believe that the footage has been removed when the dudes ran out on the field and corrected it. And I'm like,
do
no.
you think DeMar is alive?
Oh, come on. Now that's just stupid talk. I can't stand, like, bro, remember we had a discussion one time about like believing everything is a work and staying grounded and not just going full on whack job. People who are like that, they're just full on whack job. Like, bro, we have fun on here talking about everything being a work, and like it's fun. We entertain ourselves, but man, these people who just
kid stuff.
Yeah, no, Damar Hamlin, that's not really him. He really died. That's somebody else. What? They cloned him? What are you talking about?
People have too much free time on their hands. Now, somebody else who has too much free time is Travis Kelce, who, first of all, after the game, when Pat Mahomes is trying to thank God, is over there cutting a promo on this not being Burrow's house, my ass, and all this shit. And then goes to the trophy presentation and cuts a Rock promo. And we're just here to convince the people that there ain't no line between wrestling and football.
Bruh, they don't, it doesn't matter anymore. Hold on, here it is.
I appreciate you. How about this beautiful trophy? Huh? Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party!
Bro, he's just lathering up the marks, man. Do we think this isn't wrestling? I'm sorry.
Not sure why the Beastie Boys came in, but here's the thing: I didn't have a sense of which way Uncle Raj was leaning for the Super Bowl. All I can say is go Chiefs.
Well, of course you're going to say that. One other thing about
I think I speak for all good-hearted people of all races, colors, ethnicities, gender, pronouns, whatever you got. I think I speak for all of us when I say go Chiefs.
Okay. You're convinced of that. Everybody wants the Chiefs to win. So let me ask a question. I asked you a few years ago. I didn't say
everybody. I said good-hearted people.
Good-hearted. Let me ask you a question. First off, Iron Sheik said, Travis Kelce know who is the jabroni, Bubba.
For real.
Twitter. So let me ask you a question. Given the choice between the Eagles winning the Super Bowl and the end of humanity, like we discussed years ago, who are you going with? Or which option are you going with? The Eagles winning the Super Bowl or the end of humanity?
What we would need in this scenario is for the aliens to come down and out of their spaceship produce a large enough Burger King walk-in for all of us to go into and take care of our business.
Jesus Christ. So he wants the end of humanity again, is what he's saying.
You don't like Jalen Hurts either, do you?
There are some. Ian Riccaboni is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You do,
yeah.
Right?
It's a real big character flaw from that guy who, from all other accounts, he went on the AEW, him and Caprice, the best wrestling booth in the business, and did a phenomenal job of honoring their friend and colleague, Jay Briscoe, and calling that match. And you see some of his social media activity and things he does, and you're like, man, he's a good guy. And then you say, but he's an Eagles fan.
Wow.
Nobody's perfect, bro. No one.
He's a listener of ours and a good person, and that's wow. Supports us, listener of us, and this is how you treat him.
I didn't tell him to stop listening. I just told him to get his act together when it comes to the football. So
what are your thoughts about our friend Philip Allen, man? He's an Eagles fan.
I think we've litigated that already in the past.
Are you're insulting the great Phil Allen, huh?
It's got to be done. I mean that's where we're at now.
Dirty. You are dirty.
these criminals and psychopaths and illiterate pricks have made the Super Bowl.
Jesus. God. Wow.
Oh. What was that the lady used to say when I? You're. Yeah.
She
So
would
I
get
can't
upset.
help it. Hey, look, I can't help it, and I can't force Riccaboni to root for anybody. I'm just saying, it's a poor taste. It is. It just is. And you know who the biggest jabroni of all is, if we're going to use those words? You know who it is, because you were saying on there. You said this guy's got nuclear heat. Is their coach, Mr. Philadelphia, over there on the sideline? He is the walking epitome of the trash that lives in that city.
He's not even from Philly.
I know, but he's figured it out.
Well, you are going to swing in the Burger King cooler if these dudes win the Super Bowl.
Look, Mahomes has all the tricks, man. He's going to lay down on the field and like shoot a football out of his ass like a tie hooker shooting ping pong balls out of her twat in some bar in Phuket. So he's got this on lockdown. He's got 2 weeks to get a new ankle, and he's going to be just fine.
Okay, so this show is going to air just a few days before the Super Bowl.
That's great.
So give me your prediction.
The Chiefs.
Okay. What do you think the score is going to be? As
many as I can get, dude.
You want to see them blow them out, is what you're saying?
100-0.
Wow. Okay.
No, if I'll think about this for next time, but I do think that in all reality, the Chiefs are a good 5 to 6 points better than the Eagles. I'll think about what that looks like.
I realize you're going to think about this for next time. The problem is next time we record in real time, the Super Bowl wouldn't have been played, but not in real time. Or I don't know how I'm explaining it. By the time we record the next show, the Super Bowl wouldn't have been played, but it's going to air after the Super Bowl is played. That's why I'm asking for your prediction.
I just looked. They got the Philly as favorites.
Of course, dude. They lost one game this year with Jalen Hurts at quarterback.
But who did they beat?
That?
Dude, they beat the Giants, and that.
Who'd they beat? They beat you.
Team. One time with our backup quarterback.
Okay. And y'all beat their backup. So what is that saying?
We were dead even, and we didn't get a chance to break that tie.
Right. So if Dallas would have won, but you didn't,
hey,
dude,
we did win. We did win this weekend. We got rid of Wonder Boy.
All right.
Hope springs eternal. and even I had to laugh at that last one. And you got your draft picks today.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I mean, this is a matter of time.
1, 2, and a 3. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, we knew it was going to happen. That
Russ, dude, is he going to let Russ cook?
That's a good question. Sometimes I wonder how they'll mix. I mean, the only similarity between Russ and Breeze is their height. And but like I used to hear comparisons about Russ and Breeze, and I'm like, I think they're a lot different. I don't think they're that similar.
I didn't either. Yeah. Outside
of their height, but I used to hear people compare them, and like, I just don't see it. I think Russ is a different quarterback. I mean, his escapability, Breeze doesn't have that. So I don't know, man. Something was definitely wrong this year with Russell Wilson. I don't know if it was an injury. I don't know if it was an injury plus the coaching situation. I don't know, but something was off. And Mr. Let's Be Great last year was just terrible. But we'll see. Obviously they were so bad. There's no way they don't have a better record next year. If they don't have a better record next year with Sean Payton as their coach, then something is really wrong in that organization.
Yeah. Horribly wrong. I like to poke fun at you, but that's a true statement. The other thing that's a true statement, and this is what we can close football on, no matter what happens at the Super Bowl, you can be sure it's going to be booked for maximum excitement.
Oh, hell yeah. Goodell's in their ears, bro. Don't think he ain't. Oh.
I
So
mean, we've been practicing all these storylines all year long, but this is the payoff.
I can't believe they didn't book the Bills, man. I think the Bengals hot shot the territory week before last.
Yeah.
I really think that's what happened, man.
The Bills are too reckless.
Yeah. All right, man. You ready to talk some Saturday night so I can get this video version going?
Yeah, I feel like I had a spotlight or something, but I completely
forgot shoot, I'm glad you said that. You did have a spotlight, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do need to mention a couple of 5-star reviews on Podcast Addict. So the first one came from In Stereo 42, and he left this over a week ago, but we hadn't done a main show in some time, real time. He said, I would give a Meltzer 7 stars if I could. Found this podcast when listening to old JC podcasts. Excellent Smoky Mountain Wrestling shows. Now starting on the WCW from 2017. Quality comedy and one-liners, non-PC is all good. And another one from the Vagina Whisperer. I'm telling you, it's what it is on Podcast Addict. I'm not making this up. This is this person's handle. Vagina Whisperer 5 stars says, Harper is the greatness I need every Thursday night, and him reviewing Southeastern Championship Wrestling would be a dream come true. Almost a Smoky Mountain redo. BTT continues to be the only podcast in my library. No Doc required, which I think was hilarious and upset Doc. And I know who your Doc-A-Holic spotlight was for. Do you want me to remind you? You were going to give the Doc spotlight because 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, we were reviewing an episode where the executioner took Black Blood's place. And I mentioned to you that the executioner was none other than someone we should have known, Killer Kyle.
How did we find that out?
Ian Riccoboni tweeted.
Who's his favorite football team?
So you were going to give him the spotlight, but now you're going to tell me you're not going to give him a spotlight because he's an Eagles fan.
I'd say you have correctly figured all this out.
Well, I'm going to give him the Mike Maniac spotlight. How's that sound?
You're going to give him 3 Michael Vick jerseys?
Sure.
And a picture, an 8x10 of you standing next to the Brass Knucks trophy.
That sounds great.
Are you gonna sign it?
Yeah, I'll sign it for him too.
Or are you gonna have Rod Price sign it? Did you take that trophy off for Rod Price?
I don't know, but I found out some information in the last week or so about Rod Price and PN News that I didn't put 2 and 2 together because Rod's never told me PN News stories in front of me. You know they're friends.
Would you like to share anything with the people now that you have an audience?
So I really had completely gotten about PN News being in the Baldies towards the end of ECW. I even just completely blew past because I kind of checked out on ECW at that point that News was in ECW. And Rick Beebe, a few others, Mike Prue, they all had mentioned on Twitter or social media at some point, I want to say, that he was in ECW. So him and Rod were in ECW together. So I'm texting with Rod last week, and we're talking about non-wrestling stuff. And I go, when's the last time you talked to PN News? Last week, brother. You talked to PN News last week. Yep. So you talk to him often? Oh, yeah. Okay. Then he texts me a screenshot of News's Facebook. He's like, shoot him a message. I got you, brother.
Oh, no.
I'm like, all right. Well, I mean, okay. So I haven't messaged News yet, but.
Why not?
I just haven't. The problem is he just did another shoot interview and it's online and I don't want to ask him the same questions like right at this moment.
Let me draw up some questions.
Come up with some questions.
Were you behind the beat on purpose, or was this just because you were a terrible rapper?
Bruh, honest to God, listening to the interview or the shoot interview that he did recently, I love that dude even more.
Okay.
On that particular note, Doc, I don't think we have anything else. We've been rolling for some time, and we got a 2-hour episode to review.
Jeez,
so let's get into it. I don't know what happened to Harper either. Jesus Christ, where's he at? He just
I told you this was coming. I told you this was going to happen this morning. I told you.
Well, at least we got started early with our pre-show stuff. Anyway, all right, so here we are. We're talking September the 7th, 1991. Once again, August the 31st was preempted. There was no episode, and it was due to Braves baseball. So here we are for the 7th. This show was taped August the 12th. Most of what you see in this show was taped August the 12th of 1991, outside of a couple things, from the Georgia Mountain Center. 1,500 people are in attendance. JR in the first match is going to tell us that they turned away a couple hundred people at the door. The opening of the show is actually cut off from the copy we have, so we head straight to the ring for the full 2-hour edition of WCW Saturday Night on TBS. The first match is the Freebirds, who are the current U.S. Tag Team Champions, versus the Patriots. Now, real quick, this one is for the U.S. Tag titles, and the reason I say real quick is I want to say Doc and I reviewed a match on The Clash that was very stupid with these two teams, because The Clash, this match you're seeing here, was taped before The Clash. So we reviewed a match that aired on The Clash that meant nothing. The belts weren't on the line or nothing. So Doc and I were mad about that during The Clash. You can listen to our last Clash, which came out last week, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Become a patron, get access to The Clash, all our pay-per-views. Look, man, there's like 400 plus episodes available on Patreon you can enjoy. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. No ads, none of that bull crap like a lot of podcasts do. Not all, but a lot. You can just support us and keep enjoying your the shows with no ads on it. And that's your way of thanking us for no ads. Doc, let me go to you. They waste a lot of time in the beginning of this thing on basic stuff, but what do you have? Oof, that's it? Oof.
Well, I don't want to watch this.
Oh, this was better than the Clash one. The Clash one, at least we have some belts on the line here.
I guess.
But
I don't care.
Guess?
I don't
Why
care.
Don't you care?
Here's the problem. The Freebirds need a break. They need to go somewhere else for a while and then come back.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't disagree. I mean, we kind of just, I don't even know if they need to go, they need to go somewhere. They just need to take a seat for, get off of TV for a month or two.
Go home and drink a battleship's worth of whiskey.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Lots of arms, working arms early, slow start. I started fast forward.
That's why I said it was a very, like, the start of this thing, they're just doing a lot of basic wrestling. It's nothing fancy, just kind of just like, they're not wasting time, but they're stretching it out. That's the best way to describe it. But the crowd, like, headlock takeover, tackles, like, the crowd is into it. You can't, that's the thing about it when you say, well, they're kind of just wasting time. The crowd is really cheering, they're into it. Now, it's the Georgia Mountain Center. Whenever this place is packed, it is loud. So, I mean, that's to be fair. But the crowd is into it. I mean, Hayes and Garvin, they're doing their hot dogging, but they're also bumping for the Patriots, and everybody's enjoying it. There was a Freebird Suck chant, which is something, because in this building, we don't always get Freebird Suck chant. We get, free birds, free birds. So it's weird from that point of view too. Do you have anything, or would you like me to head towards the finish of it?
This went about 16 minutes.
It was fairly in depth. Like they ate up a nice quarter of an hour here for sure. That's for damn sure. So with the finish, eventually Jimmy Garvin heads to the top rope for a big move, but Chip goes and catches Garvin, throws him off the top rope. That leaves Firebreaker Chip with time to make the hot tag to Todd Champion. The ref is trying to say no to the tag, but whatever. All four guys end up in the ring. Garvin has Chip for a DDT, but I believe Champion hits Garvin with a big twisting elbow. And the Patriots, Firebreaker Chip and Todd Champion win the belts when Chip pins Jimmy Garvin. Doc, I'm curious. Do you think the wrong team won or not?
No. The Freebirds shouldn't need U.S. titles to be over.
Oh, I totally agree.
So while I'm not the hugest Patriots fan in the world, they probably do need them, and so that's okay.
Do you see the crowd? Look at the crowd react to them winning.
Well, they got to see a title change.
Not only that, they're loud. I mean, it's not like they're just not sitting on their asses and hands and, you know. I'm sure Jaworski is doing the BK thing watching this because he really likes to wank to Hayes and Garvin all the time, and
why?
This isn't going to sit well with him in his crank session, so thoughts and prayers to that frickin' moron. What a jabroni. He's such an idiot.
Why would you do that to yourself while watching men wrestle?
That's his thing. I mean, hey, bro, look. What's that old Cornette saying? For the people that like that type of thing, that's the type of thing those people like. Well, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so we go to commercial.
It's not making me do anything or costing me money, so.
That's it. We go to commercial, and there's an ad for Child's Play 3. I didn't even remember that they had a third one. I remember a second one, but not a third one.
The second one was pretty bad, too.
You know the first one is something else, though, when you watch it these days. My wife's into, like, you know, horror movies. I think they're dumb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she married me. What do you expect, you know? I think they're pretty dumb. Like, I don't know. I just don't get into them. I think there's no entertainment in most of them. But when you watch like those horror movies from back then, or even earlier, they're like comedy now. It's like, what the? It's like, seriously? It was a doll. Just punt the son of a bitch.
Well, it's got a knife. Okay. Wear steel-toed boots when you punt the bitch.
Yeah. Let's keep moving. The Diamond Stud is taking on Kenny Kendall. There's a promo before the match from the Stud. Stud talks to the kids and tells them he is their role model because you want to be like me when you grow up. You know what time it is? Stud time. Boy, he came a long way with his promos. That's all I'm going to say.
Where's DDP?
Not with him. So just let's kind of watch and cover the event and see what happens.
Right there, stop.
Hold on. I don't have my hand on the thing. Wait a second.
I need a crowd shot there.
I am. I'm going to pause when I go back to it. You know, you could keep going a little bit.
Stop.
All right. Go ahead. They're not of age. So,
I'm not talking about either one of them, and you hush.
Okay.
Oh, hush, Menace.
Oh, hush, Mikey.
I watched this on my phone. So it's a small screen. And I thought that dude between the two young girls, the two school-age girls,
yes,
behind was wearing a shiny spacesuit shirt. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? And I thought maybe he was an alien way back then. But I can see that's just a normal asshole shirt. Just some shit he bought at Sears or, you know, Kmart.
Are you drunk right now? Because that looked nothing like that.
No, I watched it on my. Like I said, I watched it on my phone.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's just a regular looking stupid polo.
Just a fucking asshole shirt. You know, $12.99 from Kmart.
Yeah, that's it.
I could wear this to the wrestling matches and pull some ass. No, you can't.
The Diamond Stud wins quickly with the Diamond Death Drop, a.k.a. the Razor's Edge. I got nothing else from it, Doc.
24 minutes.
24 minutes. Let's see. So we're at 20.
You're going. Right now, I'm not sure how you're going, but you're going, kid. Come on. We're going.
That guy did not know what was coming. So.
But we're here now, right?
Video version. Patrons can see this and watch it with us. tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. Sign up. You won't regret it. Best money you could spend on classic wrestling, in my personal opinion. But not DDP. The Stud has this guy laying across the top rope as the Stud is on the second rope. And and he's trying to pick him up. But if you watch, Doc, the guy won't let go of the top rope or the turnbuckle.
Would you?
Look at him. Look, he's like, you see how he's hooked on it?
Too.
He doesn't want to let it go. And
we're going.
Scott Hall says, "Screw you, bro. We're going." And he just muscles him over. And then he's pissed. He kicks him in the head, which
he did.
Yeah, he didn't know. He had no clue what was happening there, so he didn't know what to do. Diamond Stud wins though. Anything else?
No, he did get kicked in his head for his troubles.
Yeah, he sure did. All right, Doc. So we go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and it is time for Paul Lee from the WCW Control Center.
Look at that phone. It's looking pretty high tech for 1991.
It's still a cordless, but it's not as big of a brick as a.
We're working here, brother.
Yeah, it's still a cordless though. I mean, come on. All right, so we got Paul Lee from the WCW Control Center.
But nobody knew better back then, right? Nobody knew better. Because nobody had enough experience with cellular phones to know that they'd be any different than wireless phones. Look, I don't think I got in my hands a mobile cellular telephone until 1999.
Yeah, I was about to say it was the late 90s, 99. Yeah,
maybe 2000.
It was about 99.
Well, you didn't want to get one the last part of 1999 because you didn't want to get Y2K in it and mess it all up.
That was the least of my concerns with a telephone, but I didn't want the bill because back then, minutes weren't free. I mean, it was literally metered. I mean, you could only talk so long.
Bam.
So, but no, I think people. I don't know, man. There's no such thing as there were cell phones back then, but you had to carry around a big old case with you. So no,
like a nuclear football.
Yeah. So anyway, Paul Lee throws to the finish of August 25th, 1991 with Luger and Simmons for the world title from the Omni, where there was shenanigans from Hughes and Simmons. Simmons ends up getting pile driven on a chair. Luger wins by pin thanks to outside interference. Barry Windham, as you can see in the video version as you're watching with us, runs down to the ring though, and he tries telling Bill Alfonso, who's the referee here, so Fonzie's the ref, there was interference. But then Wyndham ends up getting triple teamed by Luger, Race, and Hughes, and he gets laid out and busted open. The Omni, I mean, you really can't tell from the audio, but it didn't seem very loud that night. I did look up the attendance, and there were 5,000 people there that night, but they just didn't seem loud for this when Barry came out to save Ron after Ron was pile driven on the chair. Doc, any notes from this before I continue with the rest of what Paul Lee had to say?
I thought it was good. I liked it. I just wonder how much of this is the main event, and I'm programmed to see Ric Flair, and I don't see Ric Flair.
You're talking about your individual view of it.
No, I'm talking about the crowd there and why they wouldn't be as into it. I thought this was fine. I thought
I
was good here, and I thought they did a good job.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, look, it's the age-old adage, Luger can't defeat Simmons. He needs help, and then he pile drives him on a chair.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I thought this was good. And, I mean, it's continuing what we've been seeing and, going to build up Ron for going for the world title. So I thought it was fine. Paul Lee then covers what happens at the Clash that we just reviewed on Patreon. So check that out by signing up, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT to see what went down there. There was a contract signing with Luger and Simmons. And there was also Missy attempting to do another locker room interview and getting disrupted. Since we just reviewed that on Patreon, though, Doc, I'm going to keep on moving.
Can't talk about it here. We're not allowed contractually from the office to discuss such matters on this channel.
So we'll keep moving. We then go to commercial.
We got a memo about that. Did you see that from the office telling us to stop doing that?
I did. It came from the internal offices of BTT. Sure did.
It was something about how we're too generous in giving away some of the things that we talk about for just the patrons to the freeloaders, and that needs to stop post haste.
Yeah, it came from Sasha, right? That was what you told me.
No, I don't know where we get these memos from, to be honest. I just obey them.
Comes from the man in the high castle. All right. That's a great series on Prime, by the way. I've been watching it when I work out.
Who?
Great series. Great series.
No. What you need to watch, sir.
I don't need to do shit.
No, you do. You need to watch this show called The Bear.
No.
Just no.
No.
No, okay.
The Z-Man, Chris Zoncha, is wrestling Rick Jones. This is the match where I thought to myself, this crowd will pop for anything because the Z-Man is getting cheers. Rick Jones takes the Z-Man to the brink. They gave this bullshit 8 long-ass minutes. Holy crap. I can't, Doc.
This enhancement talent, he had a little something here. Look at this.
He showed some charisma, man. I get him to give him credit. He looks very just normal. He just looks like maybe a little frumpy. But yeah. He had a little attitude. He did. He had a little attitude.
Speaking of entertaining enhancement talent, did you see not too long ago that Mike Jackson wrestled on Impact?
Yeah, he's still kicking, bro.
Good for him.
Yeah. Earning a paycheck.
73.
He's in good shape too. It's not like he doesn't look bad. You know what I mean?
You tell Harper to stop bumping into the mic like that.
Bumping into what?
Oh, nothing.
Oh, like you just did that? Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with you tonight.
I'm out of sorts.
I'm getting worried. I mean, I'm shocked. We are now an hour and 10 minutes past normal time. And so I kind of get worried when I don't hear from her. It was 80 degrees in New Orleans today.
Oh, well, scratch that then. Why is Zink wearing a belt?
That's the 6-man titles.
Why is Zink wearing a belt?
I think he's 6-man champions at this time with Dustin. Yeah, it's Dustin.
They need to cut that trophy into thirds and let them all carry that. Look at this. We're just not with it. The people. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, I got to play this promo from Zink and JR real quick. After the match, Zink hits a crossbody, and Zoncha's favorite wrestler wins. And then we go to a promo afterwards. Here it is.
Thanks very much, Paul. And as we were mentioning, the Z-Man currently ranked number 10 in the world. You're also a part of the World 6-Man Tag Team Champions. But I know that ultimately you have to have your sights set on the undisputed World's Heavyweight Champion, the Total Package, Lex Luger.
That's right, Jim Ross. That's the reason why I came to World Championship Wrestling, in quest of the gold. And now the champ, Lex Luger, the Total Package, whom I used to be a friend of. I don't know what kind of a man he is. I don't know what he's up to. He went out and he hired a bodyguard, 7-time world champion Harley Race as a manager, and he turned his back on everyone here in World Championship Wrestling that supported him for the last 4 or 5 years. Luger turned his back on everyone. But you know something, Jim Ross? The Z-Man stands for everything you don't, Luger. Because I represent the people, and we're all after you, champ Luger. We're all after you. Because what you stand for, little man, just doesn't go with some of us here in World Championship Wrestling.
Thanks very much. Great comments. Very succinct comments from the Z-Man. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a moment. The 7-foot, 325-pound Oz is next on TBS.
Bruh, this dude's delusional, man.
He wasn't that bad there.
JR says, I have to believe you are after the world champion Lex Luger.
Well, it's also not a great compliment if Jim Ross calls him succinct when it's over.
I got nothing.
He wasn't that bad.
I can't take that serious, bro. What am I supposed to take serious about that? Jesus Lord. World champion? Are we serious here? This is what we're doing now?
Well, he's already got a title on.
A 6-man title.
Yeah.
That means nothing.
Oh. It's got a belt.
Sure. I got a belt too. That don't make me a champion. I got nothing. I can't take that promo seriously. We'll keep moving. Oz is wrestling Jamie McKinnon. So we're 3.5 months into this Oz debut, and I can't believe we're still going with this. And it's going to go on for more months. That's the funny part. I got nothing, Doc. Sidewalk slam, Oz wins by pin. I mean, the crowd has no reaction.
What? My notes. Why is he Oz? And why do we care? What's the point of all this?
I don't know, man. It's not good. And the sad part is, like, we know what he becomes. You know, we know the finished product of Kevin Nash. And he did get over. But right now, it's hard knowing what he ends up being. Like, okay, here's one thing I'll say. You look at the Diamond Stud, right, where he is now, and you're like, it's fine. But you don't think to yourself, oh my God, it's so terrible. But with Oz, you look at him right now and you're like, this is terrible. This is dumb. So that's my point of reference. I'm not you got two similar trajectories, and I know it's unfair to say that kind of in a way because Scott Hall had been in the wrestling business for quite some time by this point.
Right.
But from a gimmick standpoint, they're both pretty new to the promotion, and it's just like this gimmick is just terrible on this dude.
I think they had more money in the Gator Scott Hall gimmick than they did the Diamond Stud, but the Diamond Stud was the gateway to Razor, so it worked. In hindsight.
That's true too.
A lot of this Vinny Vegas Oz Master Blaster is just, we have a big dude that cuts it. You know, he ain't great, but he's not El Gigante, but we don't have a single clue what to do with him.
That's what's amazing. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's like they don't know what to do with him. They got a big, massive ass dude who, I mean, he's not like built. He's not built like a brick shithouse, but he's a big bastard, right? I mean, these dudes, they guys like Kevin Nash, they're not a dime a dozen. They're not just sitting on every street corner for you to bring into wrestling. Like a lot of big lanky guys, they're not really coordinated. They're kind of awkward.
He's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's a big man, and there's like you can see there's something there, even though he's young as a professional wrestler right now. There is something there. The problem is,
hey, if we're gonna get behind and go crazy over El Gigante, then there's no reason not to do the same for this fella.
Yeah, and I guess El Gigante was just so damn big, but I don't know, man. It's just dumb. He wins. Oz wins. We then, after Oz wins, we go run through the top 10 again. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, so I'm gonna skip it. The only thing I'll say is El Gigante is ranked at 4, and Stunning Steve Austin is 5, and that's just egregious and stupidity. So yeah, I got nothing from it. We then go to Kevin Sullivan versus Lynn Fields. Man, Sullivan just beats the piss out of Lynn Fields. I mean, he does everything but crack him upside the head with a wooden chair like he did Jeff Daniels in Smoky Mountain and bust his head open.
Took about, 20 seconds for him to get outside the ring?
Yeah, it didn't take long. He puts Fields in the tree of woe, and I'm going to try to get to it here. So
that always looks, I don't know how bad it is in real life, but it always looks hard to take.
As long as the person doing it doesn't hit you in the balls, you're fine.
You're just real prone.
Yeah. If they're catching you in the gut, you can take it. Depending on how tall they are. Like Sullivan, if you notice, he's catching him in the gut as he hangs there. If it's somebody who's taller, they'll catch you in the thighs, and the meat of your thighs can take a beating. So it's not bad. But Sullivan's short, bro. So he could catch you in the nuts, man, and that would hurt, bro. That's the thing about that move, bro. You cannot protect your freaking sack.
Right.
It's just sitting there waiting to get crunched.
My note here was this was about as Ron Garvin as we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, especially when Sullivan does that stomp when he jumps and just stomps on your chest and stomach.
Yeah.
No thanks, brother. I'll pass. All right. Any other thoughts before I keep going?
No, it was good to see Sullivan back in the ring. We haven't seen that in quite some time.
Yeah. So keeping it moving, we got the Enforcers. Got to listen to them. Here it is.
You know, when Arn Anderson and myself first put ourselves together and called ourselves the Enforcers, we knew between him and I that it was time for the world to look at the two last real men on the face of the entire planet. And for those of you who are not blind, you can see the proof of our trials and tribulations. You can see the finale of all our experience and finesse. You can see the product of the two toughest people left on the face of the earth, the undisputed heavyweight tag team champions of the world. And from now on, we're going to show the world it is time for this generation of robotized sheep to face reality. It is time for the Enforcers.
Steiner, you and Kazmaier, as good as you are, have to realize sheer power without discipline turns into chaos. We had a game plan. Everyone said we couldn't do it. We stuck to our game plan. We took our knocks. We took a tremendous beating, but that's the kind of men you are. But the bottom line is, we hung in till the end, and the better men won, period.
I mean, so Larry's Bisco wasn't bad there, but Arn, Jesus.
No, not at all. Now, that's why how you say it's more important than what do you say? Because what's robotized sheep? But I knew what he meant, and it made sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was a misspeak, but it was fine. Arn, what did he say? Power without discipline is chaos?
Steiner, I wrote this down because it was just so good. Steiner, you and Kazmaier, as good as you are, pure power without discipline turns it into chaos.
Whoa.
That's a line. Oh, man. He gets the Rolex, man. I'm giving him a Rolex right now. I got to.
Man.
We let this dude leave the promotion. That's the sad part for some time. Luckily, we got him back.
And when we got him back, we sent away his best friend.
Yeah. Man. That was did you have anything? I mean, like, it speaks for itself, but that line was just phenomenal. Do you have anything else from it?
No, it's hard to, there's not a lot to say about it when he said it. So
after that promo, they are the World Tag Team Champions, just for the record. Zbyszko and R&R. They take on Scott Sandlin, and I didn't even get the second person's name. And I guess it goes a few minutes, but they dominated them. They are working Sandlin's leg and knee. Eventually, Arn gets him in the leg hole of sorts, and Sandlin gives up. And Arn was using Larry Zbyszko as leverage, so they cheated. But whatever. It's kind of an uneventful match, but I mean, it's because they just beat down the team. I mean, I don't know what else you were going to get from this. Doc, did you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, Heyman had a great line.
What do you say?
This is a team in the Enforcers that has wrestling covered from A to Z.
That's pretty fucking good. That's good. Literally. Yeah, that's phenomenal. Man, these two are a hell of a team. They really cut good. The thing is, they cut good promos together. They kind of have it all, in my opinion.
Maybe just a manager, but we'll see what we can do there.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I would right. I'm when I say have it all, I mean as a duo, like for two guys who haven't wrestled together forever, just seasoned pros, know what they're doing. Zbyszko's promos are different than Arn's, but they're really good.
Yeah.
And it's what I enjoy most about it. But they win as they should over the enhancement talent, so no big surprise there. We then go to a match with Barry Windham versus Snake Watson. Doc, I might have gone a little bit too far here. What do you have from this one? Oh, what? What do you say?
Windham is just dealing with you. Windham is so good at everything.
Yeah, he doesn't do nothing.
He hits
nothing he does is bad.
He hits the ropes like Shawn Michaels hit the ropes when everybody considers Shawn Michaels to be at his height of powers.
I remember the first time, one of the first not first conversations we had, but one of the first times you told me that about a wrestler. You're like, who do you think hits the ropes the best? I was like, I don't know. I mean, I never really kind of thought about it. But then you start looking at it and you see guys who really just, here he goes, just bam, lays into that cable. And it's something, man. It's something when a guy really hits him hard, especially in the the real ropes in the WWF. They give, in my opinion, more than the cable does in the traditional like WCW ring or all the Southern territories that you saw back in the day.
Right.
The cable gives. Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't give as much as the actual rope like you see in WWF. And Barry lays across it though as good as anyone.
So now we're in the middle of this match with Snake Watson, and out comes Mr. Luger.
Yes. So you want to work towards a finish, or you got something else?
I thought I just did.
Okay. That's why I was asking. I didn't know if you wanted to say anything before I went through it. So Windham hits Watson with a back elbow. Watson's going to fly out the ring, and Luger then hits the ring, like Doc said, with Race and Hughes, and Luger jumps Windham from behind. They are just beating down Barry Windham on the outside. The mats on the floor, this is a good visual. This is why it's cool when you got the mats, because while I'm not a proponent of mats, it's something because the mats are there and you pull them up. Like that visual of, oh, we're going to pull the mats up and do some damage to this person. So the mats come up and they face plant Windham. God, Windham flew with the ring so good right there. They face plant Windham onto the concrete floor. And Simmons comes out to help Windham, and now they're attacking Simmons too. A handful of enhancement talent also come out, but Barry's out cold and we go to commercial. Doc, let me ask you a question. Do you agree? Like, I'm not a big, like, I think Bill Watts like, oh, we're taking the mats up. Whatever, dude. It's the visual of the mats being pulled up and then a guy's head being slammed into it. To me, that makes what they did to him that much more heinous. Do you agree?
I think if you're trying to work, you can use anything. I don't think it matters. Right. I think they used it well, but you don't have to have them or need them. But if they're there, let's use them. That's anything, though.
My point was because they're there and you pull them back and slam his head into them, or slam his head into the concrete instead of the mat because you remove the mat, that makes it that much more impactful.
This is great. What they did, they used the props correctly.
Yeah,
sure. This is good.
So Barry's now busted open. We're gonna go to commercial. When we come back, I'm trying to get through it. When we come back from commercial, JR says Windham is receiving.
Here's the thing: they got to be careful here. They can't just devastate and perpetrate all the violence on Ron Simmons for the fear of a lot of how we viewed race in 1991 in the South. So them being able to take it out on Wyndham and Simmons kind of covers their bases.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like throwing Wyndham into this mix is a good thing, the way they're doing it.
Right.
Gotcha. So we come back from commercial. JR says Wyndham is receiving medical attention. Then they throw to a clip of Abdullah attacking Sting and Cactus Jack attacking Sting, coming out of the boxes. They say someone is paying men to attack Sting, but they don't know who, so they kind of speculate. Then we go to a Sting match. It's Sting versus Tim Fry. Now, Doc, what do you have with Sting versus Tim Fry? Because Tim Fry is a funny-looking fella. It's the best way for me to describe him. Your thoughts?
He keeps trying to cheat at the beginning, and Sting won't let him.
He's I don't know how to describe. We've seen this dude before. He reacts and he yells and he's kind of he's kind of entertaining as an enhancement talent. And you're right. He tries to cheat and Sting stops him and says, "Get in the ring. Let's do this fair and square." He's kind of funny.
Sting was actually pretty decent in this role.
He's always decent. What are you talking about?
No.
Oh, we about to see some stuff from Sting in a second that is phenomenal.
And then
tremendous.
Yeah. Then here's the other thing I'm going to tell you. The people are with Sting here.
I don't know why you say here. They've been with him a lot.
I know, but people are stupid.
People are stupid, right? Okay, so the people, our listeners who like Sting, they're stupid?
On that topic, yes.
See, there you go. Hedging. I noticed how you had to do some mental gymnastics there.
I didn't have to do anything.
Oh, bullshit. Yes, you did. Mental gymnastics. That's what you do, though. Any thoughts on Sting's match here? This Tim Fry dude is hilarious.
Yeah,
he ain't Paul Lee, but he's funny
than your normal, because they were doing something different, and I was okay with that.
Yeah, I found this dude to be just entertaining as all outdoors, and it was pretty damn good. This thing ends. We get a Stinger splash, followed by the Scorpion Deathlock. Doc, anything else before I fast forward and get us to this? I don't know how to describe it, man. This is a pretty damn ridiculous promo.
Now let me ask you.
Yeah.
We got another box.
What's in the box?
You seen 7 yet?
Nope. I ain't got time for that, man.
You're watching some sci-fi show from 7 years ago, but you don't have time to watch a cinema classic.
First off, it just concluded within like the last year, so that's bullshit.
Okay, well, listeners, look. You got to help me out here, and DM Mike. This is a great movie.
You think that is gonna make me watch whatever this is you want me to watch?
Well, maybe we'll do a patron review of it. You know. No. Okay. I tried, everybody. He's gonna just be stubborn about being a moron.
On that note, let's go to Sting now. This is tremendous. It's foul, but tremendous. More on it when we're done.
No means no.
No means no. Jesus, Sting. Let's go to it now. Paulie's in the ring talking to Sting.
Here with the most popular athlete in the history of World Championship Wrestling. And it appears to me, sir, as though you're not too appreciative of the gifts given to you by your benefactor. First, you get butchered by Abdullah, and secondly, you receive a Cactus Jack in the Box.
Oh, what a clever guy, Cactus Jack in the Box. I got another one for you. How about Butcher Block? Okay, it's a big square thing. I don't care. Let me just get something straight with you, Paulie. I like birthdays, and I like Christmas, and I like getting packages.
excuse me, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but it appears to me as though you have yet another present awaiting for you inside that box right there. And I'll tell you, I didn't send it. See?
Uh-oh, we got a box.
Well, this is getting a little bit too much. This is the third time that he has had a special delivery package delivered to him.
Hey, whoa. I'm not going near there.
First, he's got to be very careful. First, it was Abdullah. Then it was Cactus Jack. What could be in this box? He's checking it out.
What is it? What is it?
Oh, my, it's not a monster.
Oh, she looks like a real killer to me, man. Yeah.
Would you like me to pause it for a second just to get your thoughts on?
Really could have used Harper here.
Oh my God, I totally agree. Wherever the hell he's at, just stiff arming us tonight, and not even answering our text.
Don't use the word stiff right now.
Oh, I can use stiff.
Okay. Well, this girl probably has a can of hairspray in that box back with her that she just got pulled out of.
Goddamn ozone layer still ain't recovered.
No, it's still the ozone layer needs an IV.
Yeah.
We got ourselves she's a Tracy, I bet. Tracy with 2 E's.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to continue, and we'll continue?
Well, from this side you can see a little, that's a good healthy C cup probably.
I'm not commenting on that right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a healthy young lady who is of age and is now being held by the hand by the Stinger.
Yeah, Sting has now moved to the outside of the ring, there where the box was. She came out the box. Sting is like, oh, what do we have here? So on that note, let's continue.
A little bit bizarre here. Hey, wait a minute.
She's kissing Sting.
Is that a no?
I've got a message for this big boy.
Oh, she has a message. Hey, hold on, honey. Let me read this. It says, no matter where you are, no matter where you go, I'm watching you, and wait till I get my hands on you again. Love, your friend, Cactus Jack.
Hold on a second. Let me just say one thing to Cactus Jack Abdullah the Butcher. Take a good look at me, 6'2", 250 pounds. I got spiked hair, and I got paint on my face. In other words, I'm an easy guy to get a hold of. So if you want me, come and get me. And I got one more message for you too, sweetheart.
And he's kissing her. And that's not the worst part. Slapped her on her ass.
Send that one back to Cactus Jack and Company.
I don't mind getting a prize in the box like that. This is getting interesting. I want to find out who's behind it.
Box number 1, Abdullah the Butcher. Box number 2, Cactus Jack. Box number 3, a special surprise for the Stinger. Who's behind it all? We'll find out, perhaps, after this.
Well, he was right on one thing. It's getting interesting, Doc.
You ever seen a video of a girl who could smoke a cigarette with her hoo-ha?
Unfortunately, yes, in the early days of the internet.
She should have shot a black scorpion out of hers just then.
Wow. Okay.
But this is the black scorpion all done over again, is it not?
Kind of. I've thought that as I'm watching this with the boxes, yeah. It's like a different take on the black scorpion, I do agree.
Now, he reached out and spanked this girl on the bottom, right?
Oh, yeah. Now, you can't see him. Like, you can see him move his hand that way, but you don't actually see the hand slap her on the ass. But it is very much would appear that he slapped her on the ass.
And
the camera doesn't fully catch it. He didn't ask for permission for a lot of things. Like, he, one, plants a big old kiss on her. Two, she turns around and he slaps her, and then he's like, this is getting interesting. And JR, I don't even remember what he said. Oh, well, look at that. This is something. I mean,
nobody expected to see Sting get to second base tonight, but here we are.
Right. So she looks like she sounds like, not looks.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
If he did that if anybody did that in 2023 wrestling, what would happen?
That's a really good question, because I mean, we're watching it with 2023 eyes, kind of looking at it like, oh boy, he would get canceled. But
there was nothing crazy about what he just did through that lens.
Yeah. You know, if it's portrayed as girlfriend, boyfriend on TV, I mean, we've seen, you know, what's his name? Oh boy. Shit, he's from here, and I've had him on the show before. I can't even think of his name. Sammy
Guevara.
Yes, Sammy Guevara. I mean, he's kissed his chick on TV and slapped her on the tush show. Is that her name? What's her name?
Ty-Conti.
You're using Cornette's name. That's what you do. Pizzeria Uno and
that's how I know these people, dude. I swear to God, I watched that Women's Rumble the other night, and I was like, so that's who that is. Okay.
Oh, man.
And then I'm like, well, what's Corny call him? Oh, yeah.
Because you listen to all his reviews, which is amazing to me. I'm like, how do you listen to that nonsense? I only know these names through you from when you're telling me. You're like, oh, he calls such and such, such as. I was like, who's that? Oh, that's such as. Oh, okay. I don't know. I think we've seen stuff like this on TV. It's just a little different because they're not considered boyfriend and girlfriend.
I guess.
But she did come out the box at first, and didn't she like kind of get
a message for you, big boy?
Right. She's all up in his personal space, so
she didn't sound 100% sober.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Listen to this again. Listen to how she sounds.
A little bit bizarre here. Hey, wait a minute.
See, she kind of gets all up on him. And here she is.
Is that a no?
I've got a message for this big boy.
Oh,
she's a smoker. I got a message for this big boy.
Oh, she's Southern. She's a smoker. She's not sober. There's a lot of things going on there. She's had a couple of belts to calm her nerves, and then she had a couple of more belts after that.
Belts?
Of booze.
Oh.
How many, what percentage, okay. What percentage of the locker room made a run at that?
Oh, 95%.
Why was the other one or two people on, outside smoking weed? What happened?
They were enhancement talent. They just were like, yeah.
So you're saying everybody else is like trying to get at her.
Bruh.
And somebody got her and built a fence around her. That's what you're saying.
The boys in the locker room are like freaking dogs in heat whenever they see a halfway attractive female.
What about a quarter way attractive?
That way too.
Okay. What about a pig? What about a pig?
I've seen some pretty heavyweight rats get thrown down by the boys on desperate nights. Huh? Just because it's toasty, brother. I'm not trying to say I did it. I'm just saying.
Sure. You're different. Yeah. You're the one gentleman wrestler out there.
Look, we all got a few that we ain't proud to claim, okay?
Everybody's got a sleeve stack or two rolling around in the closet.
But not when it came to the stuff in the wrestling business. Because, I mean, bro, I saw some freaking just sweat hogs. Like, just garanimals out there.
Snaggletooth superstars.
I mean, just hanging around the matches at these mud shows.
Just came straight Straight from the swamp.
Straight from the pig pen to the frickin' outhouse.
To the Civic Center that night.
Jesus. Let me tell you
Dripping
something.
with peat moss and just unearthed from the swamp to get to the matches.
Man, I saw some at East Park Rec Center in Houma. You know, he used to, I don't know if Cornette still tells Houma stories, but let me tell you about the Slee Stacks and Hogs that just would run up in that building looking for anything that was from 3 to 8.
Trying to get
inches.
a deposit.
That's it, bro. Just, oh my God.
Everybody's
just looking
using
like
everybody so they ain't got to be alone tonight.
And they would go to the bars after, and
you got to get lubed up for this thing.
Dude, just garanimals. I got this image in my head right now of like a handful that I'm like, I saw dudes just liquored up to no end, and I'm like, bro, do you know what you're doing? Here's the funny part.
Sure do, brother.
During my wrestling days, like if I went out, I didn't really do much drinking. Like I know that's hard for people to believe now. Like we've had this discussion on Patreon shows before. I have trust issues, bro. I don't like being places where I'm not in control, which is odd because at Wildcat X-rated events, I have no problem getting liquored up. That's like the only place I'll go in public, which is weird. But for me, I prefer to do my drinking at home where, one, I'm not driving and things like that. But I don't like drinking around a lot of people that I don't know. And I especially don't like drinking around a lot of gentlemen wrestlers, all right? Because that's a fucking recipe for disaster.
They might slip you a Mickey and decide you're toasty.
Not only that, bro, like it's just little shit. Like Rod Price can't wait for you to get liquored up so you can shave your eyebrows. That's the most juvenile, childish thing on the planet. That's harmless.
You and I have kicked it and had quite a few drinks at times. Do you ever look sideways at what rib I'm going to pull?
Not really. I mean, because you're not top. It would shock me for you to like halfway top something that a wrestler did. Like,
I'm not into ribs anyway.
Me neither. I'm not into that type of like ribbon. So
like that's not fun. Fun is let's we're sitting there drinking and watching the Celtics and Lakers ribbing each other, and we're cracking up, we're having fun. The fun stops when I duct tape you to the chair and then start shaving your face from the eyes up.
So that was the ribbon itself. I mean, when we did that Patreon episode in person, we watched Celtics and Lakers and talked about that and the working of all of that, and then we start talking about freaking Canadian football and all kind of other bullshit and the moat around your house and the alligators and the fact that the cops stopped me when I had to come through the freaking gated community.
They have instructions. I had to get the electric eels out of the moat because it got too cold this week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like we had like that's the type of stuff that is the rib and fun stuff. Like, but nah, man, these wrestlers they're just jackasses, man. So no,
you got to imagine how much foul stuff they've done, whether it's to each other or to these poor females, for them to all find so much religion when they're done.
Oh God, that's part of it. They shag these wildebeest and then realize they need God all of a sudden because
here's the thing:
not only did they shag them,
and you don't have some sort of STD, then you got to realize you got away with something, and you can't get away with everything forever. So now it's time to start hedging your bets and getting in good with the Lord.
Well, what I was about to say was they lived a dirty life with all these wildebeest on the road, and now they got to find Jesus to cleanse them. It's just wash, rinse, repeat.
Now here's the other thing: how many of them gentlemen wrestlers down at the Sunday church are looking around at the Jesus rats? I'm
not going there, but I will tell you this: as Mark Merrow beats Chris Sullivan, I got no notes on that. I'm not going there, but I will tell you this. Bruh, there's, like, you know how we would joke about Flair and Ricky Morton and Stan Lane and all the rats they slayed? You know what I'm saying? We had that discussion over the years on the show, right?
Mountains of rats.
Okay. So
Montañas de ratones.
There's a select few of gentleman wrestlers who actually score the high quality ones, right? Their names are Ric Flair, Ricky Morton. You might be able to throw Robert Gibson into that one. I don't know. He kind of got Morton's leftovers, whatever. But, you know, Stan Lane.
I'd imagine that in that late 90s WCW, there were some guys, you know, they were on TV winning. They were, you know, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate. This ain't the 700 Club. But I'd imagine
Luger, maybe, you know.
They were able to do well for themselves.
Yeah, like, so my point is, there's the top 1%, right? They get the Marriott ones, you know, they're the Horsemen. They're the ones that are at the top of the food chain when it comes to that. All the rest of the gentleman wrestlers, they're fighting for the wildebeest and the sweat hogs, all right? Everybody ain't eating filet mignon. Some of them bitches is eating raw sushi, okay?
And if there's a limited supply, then I'd imagine you got guys fighting over scraps.
That too. So while the Ric Flairs of the world and the Horsemen and the Ricky Mortons and Jesus Lord the Stan Lanes, because you know he was nothing but top shelf. I mean, even Smokey, he was flying them in. And that was probably a shoot.
I hope it was.
Most guys.
I hope that the broad flying in on the airplane had to sit there with like a styrofoam cooler of seafood in her lap. Okay, Stanfield, I'm here, and I brought this cooler. What's in it? That's dinner, baby.
Oh, man. So anyway, yeah, the most guys, especially on the mud shows in the indies,
because they're fooling themselves and thinking they're big time anyway, and to fully live that lifestyle, you gotta do the deal.
That's right. Well, on that note, we'll keep moving. Finally, Johnny B. Bad beat Chris Sullivan. Johnny says, "You look so pretty, Lex, with that belt around your waist." He was having fun with that. Anyway, Johnny B. Bad wins quickly. And then we go to PN News in the last match of the show versus Lou Fabiano. News has a big orange singlet on. His rapping has gotten worse. It continues to get worse. We do get a picture-in-picture promo from the one-man gang. Gang says this is going to be a battle for the 747 between he and News. Paul Lee is making fun of News' rapping and cuts his own rap, saying News can't hang with the one-man gang. It was pretty bad. Anyway, Doc, let me go to you. Anything you got from News here rapping with the gold microphone and anything else Paul Lee would have said on commentary?
No. Unfortunately, one-man gang's going to lose to PN News next.
Yeah. And
look,
News hits.
I was wrong about Johnny B. Bad, and I've been wrong about Lex Luger. But I'm not wrong about Sting, and I'm not wrong about PN News.
I think PN News is fine. Okay. I've told you from the beginning. He's funny. He's hilarious. I enjoy him. He gets blown up quickly, but, you know, he's a big man. And then he tries to rap when he's blown up. That's just funny. All right. So anything else, Doc, before we close out the show? Because we got one more promo to get to before we get out of here.
Okay.
So we go to Ron Simmons and Barry Windham with Jim Ross. They're ringside. See what they got to say as the episode closes out. Here it is.
Lex Luger, Rayson Hughes want to put both you men out of commission.
Let me tell it like this, Jim Ross. Mr. Hughes, Lex Luger, and the bodyguard, whatever your name is, you drew first blood, and the last drop will be from our hands. We're going to draw from your body, because this, if you think it stops right here, How further from the truth can you be?
Whenever I've had to make a decision in my career, I stick by it. And I think every person in this building knows exactly where I stand right now. Lex Luger, you and I have got something to settle. Harley Race, and that big man you've got standing behind you, what you've done is you've walked over the wrong people. I've had my face scrubbed into concrete before, and it never stopped me one time. All it did was up, and I'm coming after you, and I'm going to tear you up.
Fans, it's going to be a tremendous weekend here on TBS. For our whole crew, I'm Jim Ross. We'll see you tomorrow on the main event.
I had to beep Barry out. He's so pissed off. Any thoughts on the closing promo?
I thought it was good. And again, they're getting sympathy on Wyndham with Simmons being built up as the superhero.
Yeah. It's good storytelling right now. I mean, it's, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Good stuff. Okay, so before we get out of here, we got to rate it, hand out some Rolexes. Before we do so, just a quick reminder, please consider becoming a patron at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. This show is ad-free. We don't plug anything ever. We just have Mud Show Wrestling, old school wrestling and shenanigans each and every week for getting close to 8 years now. So become a patron, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. It's not only a great way to support the show, but you get tons of extra shows in return. You get all of our Clash of the Champions we've done, which is up to 16 of them now. All of the WCW PPVs dating back to 87 through 91 at this point are all up on Patreon. Plus, you get video versions of all these shows, plus the World Class shows with Lance and I, the ECW shows with Mike Prue and JV, and the NWA Power shows with Sparks and the little fella Half Pint. And before I forget, check out Wildcat X-Rated on March the 3rd, 2023. It's a Friday night in New Orleans. It came out of the blue. The champ didn't give me any notice, so you found out when I did. Just wanted to make that known. But make sure you get your tickets because they are limited in the venue where they're having it. As I say that, I'm going to get back to it. Become a patron, tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. I am trying to make arrangements to go to Wildcat X-Rated with all the folks and listeners and patrons who will be there. So please try to make it. But beyond anything, become a patron at tinyurl.com/PatreonBTT. All right, Doc, what are you going to rate it?
Interesting episode here.
It really is.
Too long. But we've got some things going that are interesting.
Yeah, where's the Braves baseball? I cut down this shit.
Well, what happened is they probably had a day game, and Greg Maddux threw 85 pitches and ended it in 2 hours and 12 minutes, and there you go.
Yeah.
But this was a good show. There's some stuff that's still missing, but it's the stuff that's been missing, swinging and missing for a while. It's the Oz, it's the Zinc, it's the, what are we doing with the Freebirds? And there's good things too, and there's things that are working, and they've got a couple new angles, and yes, I'd prefer to have Flair here, but he's not.
Yeah, I mean, we got to move past that, right? At that point, it's yeah.
And so I'm gonna give this a B plus.
No, I think you're right. I had that written down actually.
Okay. I was going between that and a B, but I really do like this Wyndham Simmons connection, and it's clear that they're throwing numbers at this thing because they're not convinced that Luger and Simmons can carry it. Like they got brought in, is Luger championship material without Flair? Well, let's bring in Harley. Can Simmons be a credible challenger? Well, if not, just in case, let's bring in Wyndham. But it works. It's working.
And I think they're going to build before Simmons goes to a world title match. I think there's even going to be I felt like there was a tag match with Barry and Ron versus, I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering it. I don't know. But I think it works. I think it's very much credible. The story, Wyndham comes in to help Ron Simmons. Now they're going to get Wyndham back. It all makes sense. And yeah, I gave it a B+ too. I flirted with an A- just because. I mean, it was 2 hours, but like once you clip out them commercials and you get past some of the enhancement talent matches where not much happens, like it didn't, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was dragging along too much for me.
And some of the enhancement guys had some charisma, and that always helps.
Oh, it does, because you're not watching 8 minutes of bullshit. Now, at the same time, Tom Zink and the dude he wrestled, oh, hell no. Plus, there was stuff you could, like, you really could have fast-forwarded through the Paul Lee from the Control Center, because, I mean, or not the first part of it, because they talked about the Simmons and Wyndham thing at the Omni, or Luger thing at the Omni, but the back part of it, they were, talking about the Clash. So, yeah, I give it a B+ too. Okay, so then that means your Rolex. Now, I already gave out mine. Arn's getting it. No ifs, ands, or buts. That line he threw out there during his promo was phenomenal. Who are you giving your Rolex to?
Man, I wanted to give it to a couple of other people for a couple other things, but that line that Arn threw out was just like, and it was so matter of fact, part of the conversation, that at first I said, now wait a minute, what the fuck did he just say?
Yeah, here it is again. Maybe not right on it, but we're going to listen to it one more time.
Forcers. Steiner, you and Kazmaier, as good as you are, have to realize sheer power without discipline turns into chaos.
Jesus.
And he waved his finger at the end and did little raised eyebrows when he hit chaos. That was great.
When are we just going to say, look, I know there's Steve Austin's technically a better talker. Ric Flair was a better talker probably. But how the hell do you not like just go, sometimes I think about Arn being the greatest talker ever?
I think there's a lot of people that would go along with that.
Because he don't like strike out. It's always a single, a double, a triple, a home run, a grand slam. Like, I used to have a coach. Boy, times have changed. I used to have a coach when I played Little League. He's like, yeah, you ain't out here fiddle fucking around. Arn don't fiddle fuck around, man.
No. Hey, let me ask you a question. I was having this conversation this weekend. What's the youngest age you'd be cool with a coach yelling curse words, not at your kid, but like in front of your kid? Let me give an example. Like, not Little Menace, you fucked that up. But at halftime talking to the team, we got to do a better fucking job. Or
6 or 7.
We got to compete at a fucking better level.
6 or 7.
Okay, because
you got to remember. Okay, my grandfather, my dad's dad, spent a lot of time with him when I was young. Military, World War II vet, cursed like a sailor. I've been cursed around. There's not a moment in my life that I don't remember MF for this, MF for that. And
that was just today, me talking to you at work.
Right. So you just not going to get from me the, now again, oh God, little Johnny don't need to be, he don't need to hear those at a young age.
Verbal abuse on a one-on-one level is different than I'm giving the halftime speech and we played like dog shit and I got a lot of fire.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, I'm not saying that at 6 or 7 years old, 7, 8 years old, I want a coach telling my kid, you effing suck, you ain't worth a, shit. Right. Like, I don't want that at all. However, I remember having coaches when I was in single digits,
shit, yes,
who cursed like, what the shit was that, boys? What the hell are y'all doing out there? Like, I remember that. And
because Luttrell is 10 and it's pretty competitive. I'm not going to sit here and go, well, they're the best or they're playing the best. But we're in the rankings and we play ranked teams. And so it's a level of seriousness it's serious. And we came out, we played in a tournament this past weekend. And we won our first 2 games. And all we had to do on Sunday, we could lose Sunday morning as long as we scored enough goals. And this cold front that brought this ice into town rolled through, and it got real cold. And we're prepared. We got, the hunter warmers for your feet so that they put them in their socks. It's like, all right, man, it ain't nothing. Let's advance this. Let's advance to the semis here.
Yeah.
And they came out and they played all right, but it was 1-0 at halftime.
Yeah.
And so, no, excuse me. It was 1-1 at halftime, but the other team had the wind behind them in a cold day. So we're like, look, we're getting the wind. We're tied. This is just a matter of time before we start controlling this thing like Ron Garvin against a jobber. And they came out in the second half and completely blew it and started running around like chickens with their heads cut off. It was one of the more frustrating times. And all of this is to say, it got in my head like, there's no timeouts. You can't stop this momentum. And I get that a youth coach doesn't want to be cursing on the sideline in front of everyone because this is 2023.
No, you can't do it. You'll get reported.
But when the game was over and they had their talk afterwards, I said something like, if he's ever going to light them up, including cussing at them, this would be the time I would do it. And I got a couple people like, you're a hothead after we lose. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I am. I don't like losing. But I had a couple of people who were like, yeah, this is it. And so it's a real interesting question there for me.
Yeah, look, when I say I'm okay with 7 or 8, I do realize that that's not the world we live in. And if I were to do that, it wouldn't be good. I'm just saying, for me as a kid, that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
And
hey, we're trying to, at this point, and I get it. It's a real fine line here because he's not a teenager yet. He's 10. But we're on a team with practices twice a week. We're playing in 2 different leagues for games. He has homework that he has to do and report back on and be verified by me that he's watched some soccer, that he's done foot skills on his own, that he's doing cardio 3 times a week outside of school, outside of team activities. And if they don't, that's extra running on their running. So we're serious here, right? And so, but it's a line. He's still a little kid, but he's not. And it's like, and so guess what the coaches told him?
I'm listening.
If we're yelling at you, it's because we need to get your attention and you need to know something in the heat. Dude, fuck that. We are in the heat of battle. Shit's going to get emotional. And if we're a real team, we're going to say some things.
So I had to explain that to a parent one time when I was coaching. I had to basically yell, like, because baseball field is the same. I mean, it's a little different. A diamond is a little different than soccer. Soccer is probably a little bit bigger. But this was for baseball ones, even football. Like, a parent came up to me, was like, why are you yelling at them? I'm going, fucking Johnny's 100 feet away from me. If I don't yell, like, how do you want me to talk to him? Come over here? That's not realistic. So I'm literally yelling. And I used to have a talk every year, especially parents that were new and weren't returning. Like, if you hear me yelling, I'm yelling so they can hear me, not at them. And it may always amaze me because I'm sorry, man, I got to say this. We've got to a point where we're too sensitive with certain things. Like, and I'm not talking, this goes beyond even cursing. I'm not even talking about cursing. I mean, just yelling so my players can hear me. Like, hey, get your head into this. Hey, what are you doing out there? You got to make sure you do this. I'm yelling, projecting because the kid's 90 feet from me. I can't whisper. I can't talk like this.
We don't have a lot of time to convey key messages. And I get that this isn't war. But we are trying. Here's the thing. I spent a lot of time and a lot of money on this, and so it doesn't have to be perfect. And these are still kids,
Right.
But there's also some bigger lessons here about doing shit the right way.
Yeah.
And trying to get better and improve yourself. So it's not about, I say this after, it's not about being perfect. I say it to Latrell. This isn't about being perfect. It's about challenging yourself to get better.
I also I would have some parents, there was a handful every year who were like, nah, yell at him.
Oh, I told our coach all the time, he's a lot nicer on him than I would be. He just laughs. He goes, I know.
No, I'm saying I would have parents who were like, no, you can yell. They need the discipline.
Yep.
Like one parent I recall specifically, she was a single mom, and she was like, he needs discipline. His dad ain't around. Like,
that's right.
I got you.
The coach came over and said, here's their homework. A few weeks ago, like we started this program, and all the parents, we've all been together now for a couple of years. We all know each other. One of them said, we can tell them, but it'll work a whole lot better if you tell them and we enforce it, because they don't listen to us. And we all went, exactly. And he goes, okay. He goes, well, tell you what. On top of that, if y'all have any problems at school behaviorally, or people aren't taking care of their schoolwork, let me know about that too. We can add some more running for that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, it goes to show you,
man, it's why they tell you all the time it takes a village to raise these kids.
Some of my best memories are little league coaches and other people's
Half
parents.
The time you want to stick a shiv in their side, and the other time you're running through a brick wall for them.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the great part of it. But on that note, Doc, I think we've exhausted ourselves and blown ourselves up, maybe. I don't know. I'm not really blown up. So
I'm just now that we've done the job, we put a bow on this. I'm back to being worried about Harper.
I'm gonna call him as soon as I can. I got to get out. I got to get out into the rest of this house to make sure my daughter and wife aren't killing each other. I heard them yelling at each other about something. I can't tell if they're playing or not in the background. Those two. Wait till you get a teenage daughter. Holy crap!
That's when we start going back to doing 2 or 3 shows a week.
Well, bro, I could record every night just to get away from it.
Can y'all keep it down while I'm recording, please? Thank you.
All right, man. Well, on that note, anything else before we close this rather fun episode out of the best
it was
podcast
better than
there
I
is?
thought it would be, and we did as usual, another great job by the best the most punctual 2-man booth in all of sports. I'm done.
Yeah, we got to figure out if Harper's alive.
We got to go. We got to figure some things out. We got to talk about the future of the show. We got to do a well check, maybe.
Pretty much. Hit the tagline, Doc. Let's go see if we can get him on a horn.
Look it, bitch.